He asks Yeji in an angry tone when her childish behavior will stop and when she will start acting like a grown-up. She acts dumb and pretends like she doesn't know what he's talking about, and she asks him why he is yelling at her and what she did to make him yell. Yeji says that she is his girlfriend, so he cannot hurt her. Ji-woo replies and says that if he wanted to, he could have hurt her whenever he wanted to. And he says that as for the girlfriend part, they should break up because Ji-woo cannot put up with her antics and this behavior anymore. This leaves Yeji in shock, and she says that she knows that he is doing all of this for Jung-hee. Ji-woo tells her that he is doing this because of Jung-hee because she was the first person ever to make him feel like it was not his fault in that incident, and she is the person he ever told about his past. He says that he wants to break up. Yeji is in denial and refuses to hear anything. She believes that Ji-woo does not know what he is saying, so she gets up and leaves immediately before he says anything else. Jung-hee, who was with Kim Yong, felt relaxed. She tells him how she felt embarrassed in the restaurant. She compares herself to Yeji and points out how beautiful Yeji is and how fabulous Yeji's jewelry, bag, and shoes are. Kim Yong asked her if she felt jealous of Yeji, and Jung-hee admitted that she was feeling jealous of Yeji because she is also a girl and wants all of those things as well. Kim Yong tells Jung-hee not to worry and explains how soon he will start earning better, so he will provide her with all of these things. Jung-hee laughs and tells him to take care of his family first and do something for them first. This statement by Jung-hee makes Kim Yong like her even more. Kim Yong then asked her what she meant when she said thank you in that text message. She explains to Kim Yong that she really likes him. She does not want to lose him ever, and she always wants to stay friends with him, but the guy she is in love with is not him. Her love is with Ji-woo. She admits that she doesn't know why she loves Ji-woo, but she just does. This statement completely shatters Kim Yong's heart. Frustrated, he questions Jung-hee about her dreams, her trip to France, and her mother, asking if she intends to abandon all of them. Jung-hee responds that she doesn't know what she'll do about those things because, right now, all that occupies her mind is Ji-woo. Kim Yong presses further, asking if she'll be able to live without him and how she plans to do so. Jung-hee confesses that she can't imagine living without Kim Yong and needing him in her life. But Ji-woo is the one she loves and wants to spend her life with. Jung-hee acknowledges the fact that she notices and appreciates everything Kim Yong has done for her. And she also admits that she would not have been able to survive in Seoul if it weren't for Kim Yong. She tells him how her feelings for Ji-woo are new, because the way she feels for and loves Ji-woo, she has never felt that ever before for anyone else. So she thanks Kim Yong for everything. Kim Yong is very hurt because he loves Jung-hee a lot, but cannot get her because she loves someone else, Ji-woo. So he says that they should just ignore this conversation and move on as if it never happened. The scene cuts to show Yeji at her apartment bawling her eyes out. She is thinking about what Ji-woo said when he said that he wanted to break up. This breaks her heart, and she is extremely hurt by this, so she keeps crying at her apartment. Jung-hee goes back to Ji-woo's house, and while she is walking to the room she is given, Ji-woo stops her and asks her where she went with Kim Yong when she left the restaurant. Jung-hee asks him why he cares because it is of no concern to him. She then tells him that she left because of him, Ji-woo. He asks her, why so? So she starts screaming at him and tells him that she is becoming a bad person because of him. She explains that she is not the type of girl to play a double game, so just because she loves Ji-woo, she had to break Kim Yong's heart and reject him. She asks Ji-woo that if he likes her, then why doesn't he break up with Yeji because she also broke Kim Yong's heart. Ji-woo tells her that he also broke Yeji's heart. He explains that when Jung-hee and Kim Yong left, he told Yeji that he wanted to break up, and so he broke up with Yeji. This leaves Jung-hee quiet and shocked. Later, Ji-woo is behind the counter at the bar, and Jung-hee is staring at him from the corner, thinking about what to do. Finally, she walks up to him and says that she will be making him some new and delicious dishes. Ji-woo asks her why she is making these special dishes for him, and if there is any special occasion. She says no, saying that there is no special occasion, but she is just trying to make him happy because she wants to keep her happy. Meanwhile, outside the bar, Rose is not letting the same students who came last time as part of the neighboring cafe's plan, and because they are under the legal age, and it is illegal for them to enter. The girls refuse to leave and tell Rose that they were here the last time too, and they were served by Rockstar. They point at him while he was cleaning up the table, but Rose refuses to listen and forces them to leave. Kim, the cafe owner, records all of this because he also staged it, and as he is going through both videos, he enjoys them because so far, everything is going according to his plan. In the next scene, Rose texts Ji-hyuk, asking him to come to the bar and pick up his cactus. Ji-hyuk starts to wonder how Rose even got his number, and then he assumes that it is definitely Ji-woo's doing. Meanwhile, Kim Yong's friend comes up to Kim Yong and tells him that Yeji has not come to the office again today. So the friend worries and says that something big must have happened. At the same time, at her own apartment, Yeji wakes up from her bed, gives herself a pep talk, and says that there is no breakup and there never will be one. Kim Yong is eating with Song when Song suddenly asks him how it went with Jung-hee. Kim Yong tells him that his sister broke up with him and broke his heart. He then gets up from the table and leaves. Song gets angry that Young-hee rejected a guy as good as Kim Yong, so he calls her to yell at her for it, but she does not pick up the call, and she declines it. It turns out that she is actually eating with Ji-woo. They are both sitting together and eating the dishes she made. But Ye-ji suddenly walks in and is shocked to see Jung-hee at Ji-woo's house, and to learn about the fact that the both of them are eating together. Jung-hee is also shocked to see her, so she gets up from her seat and quickly tries to leave, but Ji-woo grabs her and makes her sit down. Ji-woo stops her from leaving and tells her that she does not need to leave since she has not done anything wrong. Ji-woo also takes a seat at the table and continues to eat. Ye-ji is left in shock, so she walks up to the table and asks Ji-woo what he was doing with her and why they were eating together. Ji-woo replies straightforwardly and tells Ye-ji that he is in love with Jung-hee, and that is why she is at his house and they are eating together. Ye-ji refuses to believe this and says that either Ji-woo has gone mad or he is drunk. Ji-woo replies that he has gone crazy, but that craziness is his love for Jung-hee. And as for the alcohol, he tells her that he has not drank any alcohol because the doctors have prohibited him from doing so. Ye-ji does not believe him and says that he must definitely be drunk, and she says that she will continue this conversation in the morning, and she turns away to leave. Ji-woo tells her that she's just refusing to accept reality and is in denial. Ji-woo also makes it clear that Jung-hee will now be living with Ji-woo, and that if Ye-ji is angry, she should hit Ji-woo instead of Jung-hee because he says that he will not tolerate anything if anyone touches Jung-hee. Jung-hee is also in shock after listening to all of this. Ye-ji still cannot believe all of this and exclaims that she does not want to repeat their history again. So she ends her sentence by saying that Ji-woo was hers, is hers, and always will be hers, and they will never break up. She proceeds to leave, but then she looks at Jung-hee's room, since the door was open, and sees Jung-hee's bag, her books, her makeup, and her clothes. So she gets angry and breaks the mirror inside Jung-hee's room, and then she storms out. Jung-hee is very shocked and surprised to see Ye-ji's behavior, but Ji-woo, on the other hand, was not surprised at all because he knew that this would happen sooner rather than later. Ye-ji goes downstairs and instantly calls Kim Yong and tells him that Jung-hee is staying at Ji-woo's house, and she says that she even saw Ye-ji's belongings and clothes to confirm it as proof. Meanwhile, upstairs, Jung-hee is apologizing to Ji-woo over the fact that, because of Jung-hee, Ji-woo had to go through that reaction from Ye-ji. Ji-woo tells her not to worry about it, and jokes around that at least Ye-ji did not hit him. And at this moment, someone starts banging loudly on the door. Ji-woo opens the door to find Kim Yong, who enters the apartment and approaches Jung-hee. Despite her protests, Kim Yong continues to drag her along. Ji-woo intervenes and tells Kim Yong that he did not give him permission to enter the house. Kim Yong responds by saying that Ji-woo did not have permission to hold his hand either. This angers Ji-woo, who stares at Kim Yong and asserts that any conversation should happen in front of him. Kim Yong pulls Jung-hee back to his side and questions Ji-woo's authority over her. Ji-woo confidently declares that he is Jung-hee's boyfriend. Kim Yong and Ji-woo get into a physical fight, accidentally hitting Jung-hee in the process. Jung-hee regains consciousness and tells them to stop fighting. Kim Yong questions why Jung-hee is living there, suggesting she could have come back to their house. Ji-woo clarifies that it is not their house and reveals that he has broken up with his girlfriend Ye-ji and is now dating Jung-hee. Kim Yong gets angry at Jung-hee for living with Ji-woo and compares himself to Ji-woo. Jung-hee explains that she had no other choice and was living in Ji-woo's storeroom without his knowledge. Kim Yong questions why she didn't tell him about her problems, but Jung-hee didn't want to burden him with more favors. Kim Yong tells her to go back home, but Jung-hee insists on living with Ji-woo. Kim Yong takes her back to his house, leaving Ji-woo waiting and angry. He then checks his phone, and he sees that he has a text message from Jung-hee in which she is saying that she will be back at work in the morning. And this makes Ji-woo really angry because he still cannot believe that Jung-hee went with Kim Yong. When the both of them finally reach Kim Yong's house, Sol asks Kim Yong if he brought his fried chicken, but this makes Jung-hee so angry that she starts hitting Song and saying how dare he give a command to Kim Yong. Song was shocked to see the both of them come together, so he asked him about it, but Kim Yong did not answer. Instead, Kim Yong and Song leave the apartment so that Jung-hee can sleep peacefully. Song says that he does not want to make Kim Yong angry, but he is curious about the mark on Kim Yong's face, so he asks him about it, thinking that Jung-hee hit him. Kim Yong refuses and denies it, but Song does not believe him and thinks that it was Jung-hee who left those marks on his face. Jung-hee walks around Kim Yong's apartment and has flashbacks of the old days when she would live here. She looks at the couches and has flashbacks of how they would both sit there and talk. She looks at the toilet and she remembers how Kim Yong would pat her back when she would get drunk so that she would vomit in order to feel better. When she looks in the bathroom mirror, she remembers how the both of them used to jokes around and brush their teeth together in the morning. When she looks at the table, She remembers when Kim Yong complimented her for the first time by calling her beautiful, kind, hardworking, and kind. Young-hee remembers all of this, gets emotional, and notices how their work list is no longer on the fridge, and how the fridge is very messy, even though when she lived here she would organize it often. So this makes her think that the house and Kim Yong himself really do need Young-hee. Meanwhile, Kim Yong thinks about the day when after Jung-hee's father passed away and everyone made fun of her, he would protect her and beat up any kid who would make fun of Young-hee. He then remembers the time he saved Young-hee from suicide, and then he remembers the day he kissed Young-hee because that was the best day of his life. But this thought does not last very long because then he remembers when Young-hee made it clear that it was Ji-woo in her heart and not himself. These thoughts crush his feelings, and he feels broken. When Kim Yong gets back in the house in the morning, he sees Young-hee asleep, so he slowly puts a blanket over her. He opens the fridge for some water, and he finds the fridge to be organized, and there is food ready for him to eat when he comes back from the office. This makes him remember the old days when Young-hee used to live here, because that was what she would do back then. He realizes that he himself and the house need Young-hee because she actually cares. He then gets ready for his office and job and leaves. The moment he leaves, Young-hee opens her eyes. Ji-woo is waiting outside his house on the driveway for Young-hee to arrive. When she finally does reach, she heads straight inside the bar and ignores all of Ji-woo's questions. When she enters the bar, Rockstar stops her and shows her Rose's condition and behavior. Rose is peeking at Ji-hyuk from the corner, and she does not stop smiling for even 1 second. Young-hee tells Rockstar how this means that she likes Ji-hyuk and is attracted to him. This makes Rockstar angry because he likes Rose. Rose sits at Ji-hyuk's table, serves him a special cocktail she made, and tries to flirt with him. Rockstar does not like this. So he grabs Rose, pulls her up from her chair, and tells her that Captain, referring to Ji-woo, is calling her. Meanwhile, in the kitchen, Ji-woo again starts to ask Young-hee questions like why she went with him last night, what she and Kim Yong talked about, and if he stayed with her for the night. When she says yes, Ji-woo gets extremely jealous. Rose enters the kitchen and asks Ji-woo why he called her. So Ji-woo screams loudly and tells Rose that he did not even call her at all. This leaves Rose in shock, and she stares at Rockstar and wonders why he would lie in the first place. At this moment, police officers enter the bar and demand to call out the owner and speak to him. Ye-ji is out for a meal with her friends, and she is very sad over what is happening between her and Ji-woo. A friend of hers tells her to move on since he is not even rich anymore and just runs a small bar. This makes Ye-ji angry, and she snaps at her friend, saying how dare she talk badly about Ji-woo, and then she gets up and leaves the table. This makes the rest of her friends really surprised and worried for her. Rose, Rockstar, Ji-woo, and Jung-hee are at the police station, and the policeman shows them the video in which they let the students inside the bar without checking their ID cards because this is illegal. Rockstar apologizes and says that it won't happen again since it was his fault. But the police officer doesn't believe this and says that he will file a report. He asks everyone their full names, and when Rockstar tells his full name, it is really long, so everyone is shocked at his name being so long. He tells everyone that he chose the name Rockstar for himself as a nickname. When it is Young-hee's turn, she hesitates a lot, and it takes her some minutes to muster up the courage to tell her real name to the cop. But she finally gives in and tells him that her name is Soju. After they leave the police station, Ji-woo asks Young-hee if her name is actually Soju, so she replies honestly and says yes. Rose suddenly points out that it cannot be a coincidence that someone managed to record all of this and send it to the police. She tells everyone that this was definitely executed as a plan against the bar. On the other hand, Kim, the cafe owner, is really happy because since the bar is closed, everyone is going to his cafe, and he has a lot of customers. So he thanks the 3 student girls who helped him execute this plan of his. Ji-woo drives everyone back, and when they reach the bar, he asks Rose and Rockstar to take the rest of the day off and come to work on time in the morning. Young-hee is confused as to why Ji-woo isn't letting her leave, and Rockstar feels the same way, so he refuses to leave without Young-hee. But as soon as Rose says that she will take him to watch a movie together, he instantly leaves the car. Ji-woo takes Young-hee with him to go on a drive and have fun. Meanwhile, Rose takes Rockstar to watch a horror movie. But Rockstar is terrified because he does not like horror movies, since he gets scared very easily. But as soon as he looks at Rose's face, he forgets about everything else and calms down. Kim Yong and his friend visit Ye-ji at her apartment and bring her some food since she has not been coming to work for a few days. At first, Ye-ji refuses to eat street food, but the moment she tastes it, she begins devouring all of the food. This leaves Kim Yong and his friend in shock because she was eating as if she had not eaten in years. Young-hee and Ji-woo are at the beach, having a lot of fun. They are taking pictures together, shopping, playing games, and even having dinner. They are both very happy because this is the longest time they have been together, having fun. Meanwhile, Rockstar and Rose are done with the movie, and Rockstar is playing on a claw machine trying to win a doll for Rose. But he is unable to win a doll, and he tries so many times that he spends almost all of his money, but he is unable to win even a single doll. Since it is past closing time there and they were very late to leave, All of the gates automatically closed and locked themselves, leaving Rose and Rockstar trapped inside. Rose is really upset and worried, and Rockstar apologizes to her, and then they both sit down. Rockstar tells Rose that he cannot stop looking at her because her beauty shines all around her. Rose laughs and says that she might not have told Rockstar about her divorce, and this leaves Rockstar in shock. Rose asks Rockstar why she isn't shining anymore, but Rockstar does not reply and stays silent. Yeji is smoking a cigarette and also offers one to Kim Yong, but he refuses to smoke directly. Yeji tells him how after her father's death, she was all alone because her mother would only focus on her work and her new husband, so that is when she started to smoke cigarettes since there was no one to stop her. She continues speaking and asks Kim Yong if he is familiar with the feeling of no one caring about us and being completely alone. Before he even answers, she adds on by herself and says that when she is with Ji-woo, she never feels alone. Kim Yong advises Yeji to try and move on from Ji-woo and forget him, because she will also do the same with Jung-hee because that is the only good option. But Yeji refuses, saying that it is impossible for her to forget Ji-woo. She explains how she will never stop trying to get Ji-woo back until the day she dies, and she recommends Kim Yong do the same for Jung-hee. It was too late at night to drive back, so Ji-woo and Jung-hee got a room at a hotel nearby. Jung-hee finds some matching t-shirts cute, so Ji-woo buys them, and then both are wearing them. When they get inside the room, Jung-hee lays down on the bed, and then Ji-woo walks over to her and kisses her on the lips very romantically. Jung-hee pushes him away and tells him that they will both sleep in the bed, only holding hands. Ji-woo despises this at first and refuses, but at the end he agrees. So they both lay down in bed holding their hands together, and very soon they both fell asleep very happily. Ji-woo wakes up in the morning before Jung-hee, and he just stares at her continuously for a few minutes. He then gives her a good morning kiss, which wakes her up, and then she instantly hugs Ji-woo. After they both get ready, Ji-woo closes her eyes and guides her to the beach, saying that he has a surprise for her, but when he opens her eyes, there's nothing there, so he wonders how it can vanish suddenly. He then goes and starts kicking the sand and the waves, which makes Jung-hee laugh uncontrollably. She remembers that in the middle of the night, she wakes up and sees that Ji-woo isn't in bed, so she looks outside the window of the hotel room and sees Ji-woo writing, "I love you, Jung-hee," in the sand, and she starts smiling and finds it adorable, but she does not tell Ji-woo about this. Ji-woo and Jung-hee get in the car to leave, and Jung-hee thanks him for everything, which makes him very happy. Rose and Rockstar are woken up by two random kids because the gaming section of the cinema is now open, so they could leave. While they are eating, Rockstar asks Rose if she likes Ji-hyuk, and she says yes. He then asks her if she likes him, referring to himself as Rockstar too. She says yes, so he gets very happy and immediately says, "I love you." Rose is so shocked that her drink spills out of her mouth, and then she starts laughing, saying not to propose to someone while eating a burger since this is against their Korean culture, so she tells him never to do this with any other girl. Rockstar says that he does not care about any other girls. He expresses that he just wants to make Rose his girlfriend. Ji-woo is getting a back massage from Jung-hee when suddenly he pushes her down on the bed and gives her a kiss. He tells her that he will be making breakfast for her today. Once the breakfast is ready and served, Jung-hee eats it, and not only does she really like it, she also enjoys eating it too. Song is thinking about the time Kim Yong told him about his rejection from Jung-hee, so Song wonders who the man can be for whom his sister rejects Kim Yong. He thinks that since his sister is not attractive, it cannot be someone rich, but since she chose that mystery guy over Kim Yong, he must be a little bit rich, so he gets happy just thinking about this. Kim Yong is in a meeting at work, and Ji-hyuk assigns him a very difficult China project, and Kim Yong has no other option but to accept it. He is sad over this, but his friend comes over and tells him that if this project goes well, he can be hired as a permanent employee, and he will have secured his job. This makes him very happy because he is currently working as a guest employee for the company. Ji-woo and Jung-hee are at home enjoying themselves and relaxing when Jung-hee asks Ji-woo to please add Mr. Gong's dish to the menu, and Ji-woo happily agrees because he knows he has no other option out of love. Song then calls Jung-hee again, and this time Jung-hee picks up, so Song tells her to meet with him and calls her out, so she agrees to meet him. When they meet, Song eats a lot of food and asks Jung-hee to pay the bill for his food. And then suddenly he inquires why Jung-hee is not accepting Kim Yong, and it reminds her of the days when Kim Yong used to protect her during school, when someone used to make fun of her. And he also reminds her of all the support Kim Yong has had since their father's death. He continues saying that he even kept her at his house, even though he has a problem paying rent, but he never asked her for rent money. And then Song says that Jung-hee was only using Kim Yong. Jung-hee refuses and says that this is not her motive. She explains how Kim Yong is a really good friend, but the person she loves is someone else. Song accuses her of lying about her dream of living in France and says that all along she planned to come to Seoul and get settled with a rich guy. When she refuses this statement, Song asks her if she really likes this mystery guy, to which Young-hee replies with a yes. Young-hee then gets up and leaves, and while she was on her way home, she saw a lamp, which she thought was very cute. Song asks Kim Young about the details and address of Young-hee's workplace. Young-hee writes Mr. Gong's dish on the menu, and surely enough, the sales of the bar almost double because everyone seems to enjoy Mr. Gong's food. Rockstar goes up to Ji-woo and asks him about the police case, and Ji-woo tells him not to worry about it and says that he will take care of it. Rockstar is curious as to how Ji-woo will take care of him, so Ji-woo explains how his grandfather is the richest businessman in Korea, so Ji-woo is extremely rich. Rockstar also tells him about his royalty and tells him that he is a prince too, but Ji-woo takes it as a joke. Jung-hee is in the kitchen preparing food with Mr. Gong when she asks that, despite knowing such amazing recipes and being a superb chef, why does he still sleep on the roads? He tells her that there is a huge reason behind it. Song approaches Ji-woo's bar, and Rockstar, who mistakes Song for a customer, brings him inside. Song judges Ji-woo by his clothes, watch, and personality to get an impression of how rich he is. When Ji-woo catches Song observing him, Song decides to introduce himself. Song tells Ji-woo that he is the brother of his employee, Jung-hee, and this makes Ji-woo very happy. And Ji-woo tells him that he has heard a lot about him. Jung-hee comes out of the kitchen and is not happy to see Song there, so she covers his mouth with her hand, walks him out of the cafe, and scolds him for coming there. Song asks her why she is working at a bar after knowing that her parents hate alcohol, and they wouldn't like her working so close to it. He then asks her if Ji-woo is the guy she loves. She refuses to answer and instead asks him why he cares, which confirms Song's suspicions and gives him his answer. He realizes that Young-hee is, in fact, in a love relationship. Song decides that from now on he is on his sister's side instead of Kim Young's side because she is his own blood sister. Ye-ji and Jung-hee meet and sit down to talk. Ye-ji asks Young-hee if she even thinks that herself and Ji-woo are a good match. Jung-hee refuses and says that they aren't because she isn't pretty or rich. Jung-hee also adds that for a couple to be happy, they don't need to be perfect. They just need love, which is present between Jung-hee and Ji-woo. This response of hers infuriates Ye-ji, so the both of them start arguing back and forth. And in the end, Ye-ji challenges Jung-hee by threatening to steal Ji-woo from her, and then she storms off. Ye-ji gets in her car and starts driving. She thinks about this conversation and gets extremely upset, so she starts driving really fast and gets into an accident. When Ji-woo finds out, he immediately runs up to his room to get ready. As he's leaving to go to the hospital, Jung-hee asks him where he's going and if he's going to see Ye-ji. Ji-woo does not reply and leaves. Jung-hee does not know about the accident, so she thinks that Ji-woo still has some feelings for Ye-ji. Rose and Rockstar are walking when Rockstar asks Rose about her answer to his proposal from earlier, and before she could answer, he notices a woman in a red dress with 2 bodyguards coming towards them. Rockstar realizes that they are here for them, so he grabs Rose's hand and starts to run away, and the lady and the guards follow Rose and Rockstar and chase after them. The guards call reinforcements and end up cornering Rose and Rockstar, which absolutely terrifies Rockstar. The lady in the red dress tells Rockstar to go back home with herself and the guards because Rockstar's father is waiting for him. Rockstar refuses and makes it clear that he does not want to go back, so the guards start to get closer to him and manhandle him. Rose interrupts and tells everyone to back off from Rockstar, and then she threatens to call the police. The lady in the red dress tells Rose not to worry because she is taking Rockstar somewhere safe. All of the guards drag Rockstar away with themselves against his will. While he is being dragged away, Rockstar tells Rose that he will be back for her, and he promises this to her. Rose is very confused, as she does not know what is going on. Ji-woo finally reaches the hospital, and when he walks into Ye-ji's room, Ye-ji's mother and her husband are already inside the room. When Ye-ji's mother sees Ji-woo, she gets up and walks over to him in great anger, and she slaps him right in the face. She starts saying fierce things like Ji-woo also killed Myuu, so why was he trying to kill Ye-ji too? Ji-woo was shocked by all of this, and he was left in complete shock and stayed silent. Ye-ji's mother's husband takes her out of the room to calm her down, and Ji-woo takes a seat by Ye-ji's hospital bed and waits for her to come back to consciousness. Ye-ji finally wakes up and is happy to see Ji-woo by her side. Ji-woo asks her the reason behind all of this and asks her why she's doing this to herself. She starts crying and explains her feelings that her father and brother have also left her, so she will be left all alone if Ji-woo also leaves her. She expresses that she would feel alone and feels as if she has no more reason left to live. She asks Ji-woo what she can do to get Ji-woo back, just like before, and make him hers. Ji-woo stays silent and gives no response. Ji-woo is waiting outside Yeji's room when Yeji's mother walks up to him and starts telling him how she tried to keep Yeji away from a man like Ji-woo because she never liked Ji-woo, especially because she blamed him for Minju's death. Yeji's mom explains how she wants him to stay with Yeji as a lover because she knows that if she does not get to live with Ji-woo, she will kill herself. Ji-woo is absolutely shocked by this and stays silent since he does not even know what to say. It is past midnight, and Ji-woo is still not back at home. So Young-hee is very worried since she does not know what is going on. She continuously texts Ji-woo, checking up and asking when he will be back. Ji-woo reads all of these texts, but he does not respond and just ignores all of them because he is in a bad mood and he is at his brother Ji-hyuk's house. Ji-hyuk asks Ji-woo the reason for his being in this state and asks if something really bad has happened. Instead of replying, Ji-woo chooses to stay silent and drink a lot of alcohol. He falls asleep right there on the couch, so Ji-hyuk gives him a blanket and leaves the room. When he is leaving, he turns off the lights, but Ji-woo wakes up and asks him to leave the lights on, which tells us that his phobia is back again. The next day starts, and Young-hee is cleaning the bar when Rose runs inside and tells Young-hee that some people abducted Rockstar. This leaves Young-hee in absolute shock. Rose and Young-hee sit down, and Rose explains everything to Young-hee, telling her about the whole scenario. Young-hee tells her that those people have been after Rockstar for a while, and tells her that Young-hee has seen and encountered the red-dressed woman before. Ji-woo is still at the hospital, sitting outside of Yeji's room and thinking about Young-hee. While he is thinking about Yeji, she comes out of her room and asks Ji-woo to go on a walk with her. When they are walking, Yeji says to Ji-woo that they should get engaged. They can get married later on in the future, but for now they should at least be engaged. Before Ji-woo could say anything, she added that it is easy now, and this is the best time since her mother is also in favor of the couple now. Ji-woo stays silent and gives no response. Song is back at the house and eating the food that Young-hee made for Kim Young. He accepts and believes that Young-hee's food has the same taste as their mother's food. While he is eating the food, the doorbell rings, and when he goes to check who it is, it turns out to be Kong, his younger brother. He is absolutely shocked and asks Kong what he is doing there in Seoul. On the other hand, Young-hee's mother is looking for Kong back at home when she finds Kong's letter. In the letter, he wrote that he has left the house and will come back soon after becoming successful in life. His mom starts screaming his name and starts calling out to him because now all three of her children, Kong, Jung-hee, and Song, have left the house. Kim Young is doing some work when his friend tells him about Yeji's accident, so he gets shocked. And while he is digesting that news, he gets a call from Jung-hee's mother. He picks up, and the mother asks him to swear and tell her honestly if Kang and Song are at his house. He starts thinking to himself if Kang has also come to his house now and is thinking what to do. Back at the house, Song is yelling at his brother Kang and scolding him, saying how dare he run away from the house at such a young age. Kong says that he is doing the same thing as his elders, and he questions that if Song and Jung-hee can run away from the house and leave, why can't he? Song gets angry and screams loudly, telling Kang not to answer back at him. And then he asks Kang his real reason for coming all the way to Seoul. Kang confesses that he is there for a gaming tournament, and he questions why his brother Song is so angry, even though he gave Kang the address himself. Song thinks back and realizes that Kang made his friend, who is older and sounds like a man, call Song to ask for his address, pretending to be a food delivery driver. Once Song realizes this and connects the dots, he regrets giving the address in the first place. Ji-woo goes back to the bar, and Rose runs up to him and tells him that Rockstar is not here, which is why Rose is having trouble attending to all of the customers by herself. Ji-woo tells her to close the bar for the day, and he walks to the stairs to go upstairs to his room. Then Jung-hee comes running to go and try to talk to Ji-woo. But Rose stops her before she reaches Ji-woo and tells her not to talk to him today because he is not in a good mood. Jung-hee gets a call from Kim Young, who asks her to meet him at the park, so she goes and meets him outside at the park. When he goes, Kim Young tells her that her younger brother Kong is now also living at his house. Jung-hee could not believe this and asked him why and how. So he told her that Kong was here for some type of gaming tournament. He says that it looks like it is in her family's blood to come and take over Kim Young's house. Jung-hee apologizes, but Kim Young says that if she is actually sorry, she should close her eyes. Jung-hee gets suspicious of it, but when Kim Young says that if she trusts him, she should close her eyes. When she closes her eyes, he takes a minute to look at her beautiful face. And when he is done, he hits her with his finger. When she asks him why he did this, he gets up, leaves the park, and carries on with his way. Jung-hee buys that lamp, which she finds the last time. And when she reaches Ji-woo's house, she gives it to him as a gift, and says that he can use it when he sleeps if he feels afraid. Ji-woo tells her that Yeji got into a really bad car accident because of him, and she is in a lot of pain, so Young-hee tells him not to worry and says that she will pray for him. Ji-woo apologizes to her and tells her that Yeji really needs him, so he will be getting engaged to her soon, so he says that they should break up. Young-hee is shocked after hearing this, so she runs over to Ji-woo and hugs her from behind. She tells him not to leave, and he asks him why he is doing this to her. Ji-woo apologizes again, gets her hands off of him, and he leaves the room. Young-hee starts crying, and she immediately packs her things, clothes, and all of her belongings and leaves because she does not want to stay at Ji-woo's house anymore. When she's done packing, she comes downstairs to say goodbye to Ji-woo, but he does not give her any reply, so she gets angry and leaves. Ji-woo's eyes start to tear up because he does not want to leave Jung-hee, and he actually loves her. But he thinks that he has no other option because he feels pressured by Yeji and Yeji's mother. Young-hee leaves the house with her suitcase when Rose runs over to her and asks her why she is sad and what is going on. Young-hee tells her that she has nowhere else to go, so without any hesitation, Rose immediately brings Young-hee over to his house. Young-hee tells Rose about everything that happens, so Rose starts cursing Ji-woo and tells her that all men are the same. She tells Young-hee how she was happily married, but she suddenly got breast cancer, and after the operation, her husband would make fun of her and say that her figure was not like other women, so her husband leaves her and divorces her. This makes Rose very sad, and Young-hee sympathizes with her, and they both hug each other and comfort each other. Ji-woo is lying in his bed and thinking about Young-hee and her words when she was begging him not to break up with her. Young-hee goes through her phone's gallery and looks at all of the photos of herself and Ji-woo. She really misses him and starts crying again. Rose asks Young-hee the next morning while they're having breakfast if she will be going to work at Ji-woo's bar again. So Young-hee starts thinking about this. Back at Kim Young's house, Song asks Kang how much the prize money is for this gaming tournament. Kang tells him that the prize fund is 20,000 American dollars. Song is in shock and tells his brother to win the tournament no matter what, otherwise he threatens to kill his brother. Kang laughs at this and points out how, at first, Song was refusing to let Kang go to the gaming tournament, but as soon as he found out about the prize money, he wanted Kang to play in it. Rose and Jung-hee arrive at the bar, and Jung-hee goes to the kitchen to wash the dishes. She thinks that this is her job and she should not let her relationship with Ji-woo affect it. Ji-woo wakes up and comes downstairs to see Jung-hee washing dishes. He is left in shock and does not say anything about it. Rose tells him that Jung-hee came over to her house last night and stayed there. Ji-woo gives Rose the responsibility for the entire day, and he leaves because he has to go to the hospital to meet Ye-ji. When he reaches the hospital, he feeds Ye-ji her food with his own hands. Back at the cafe, Jung-hee asks Mr. Gong if he actually has a house in New Zealand and in France. She asks him why he doesn't live there, so he tells her that he's hiding and running away from someone. Jung-hee says that she wishes she could go and live there because she does not want to live here in Seoul, and sometimes feels that her life in Seoul is just a bad dream. This makes Mr. Gong wonder what has happened to Jung-hee to make her so devastated. Rose and Jung-hee, we are sitting when Rose gets a call from Rockstar. They both go to Rockstar's given address, which turns out to be a very luxurious and expensive 5-star hotel room, which leaves them both wondering if they are at the right place. When they enter, a female secretary comes and asks them to get on their knees since the prince is about to come. Jung-hee immediately kneels down, but Rose does not. Finally, the secretary forces Rose to get on her knees as well, so she finally does. Rockstar walks out in a completely different outfit, all suited up and looking nice, which leaves the both of them shocked. He apologizes for not being able to contact them for a long time. When the three of them have dinner together, Rose is amazed and says she can't believe he is actually a prince. Rockstar replies that he had told her several times before. Jung-hee points out that this means he didn't use his card because he would have been caught immediately. Rockstar admits that was the reason he was living as a poor person in Korea. Then he takes Rose to another room filled with teddy bears he bought for her because he couldn't get one for her last time. When Rockstar confesses his love to Rose again, saying he really likes her a lot, Rose just looks at him in amazement without saying anything. Meanwhile, Ji-woo's family is having dinner together. Ji-woo tells his parents about Yeji's accident, leaving them both quite shocked. Before they can ask Ji-woo anything further, he leaves the room. Ji-woo's mom asks Ji-hyuk if Yeji still follows Ji-woo, and he confirms that she does. Later in the car, Jung-hee asks Rose if she will accept the Rockstar's proposal. Rose says she doesn't know, indicating she is quite confused at the moment. She thought Rockstar was joking with her previously, but now she realizes he is serious about his feelings. On the other hand, Ji-woo calls the doctor home to get his medication for phobia. Before giving the medicine, the doctor asks about his condition. Ji-woo explains that he is having trouble with darkness again. The next morning, Ji-woo's mom wakes him up and scolds him, saying the doctor told her everything, including that he has started drinking again and his health is deteriorating. She mentions thinking of sending him abroad again, but Ji-woo refuses, saying he wants to stay in Korea. His mom asks if it's because of Ye-ji, and Ji-woo admits that it is, revealing that he plans to get engaged to her soon. This leaves Ji-woo's mom in shock. Ji-woo's mom meets Ye-ji's mom to discuss why she accepted their relationship. Ye-ji's mom explains that she did it because she only wanted her daughter's happiness, even though she didn't want to accept the relationship. This worries Ji-woo's mom even more because she knows Ji-woo feels responsible for Ye-ji's brother Minju's death and will never be happy with Ye-ji after marriage. Ji-woo's mom then goes to Ji-woo's dad's house to discuss the matter. When he hears about Ji-woo and Ye-ji's engagement, he is shocked as well. Ji-woo's mom tells him she is considering taking Ji-woo abroad to get him away from Ye-ji. She adds that Mr. John also thinks it's best for Ji-woo. Ji-woo's father becomes very angry, accusing her of using Ji-woo as an excuse to start a new life abroad with Mr. John. Ji-woo's mom denies it, but he doesn't believe her, leading to a big argument, and Ji-woo's mom leaves in anger. Mr. Gong tries to talk to Young-hee, who has been sad all day, about his houses in France, the USA, and New Zealand because she doesn't want to stay in Korea. However, he is interrupted when Rose calls Young-hee. When Young-hee returns to the kitchen, she sees her mom standing there, and in shock, she drops the tray. Young-hee's mom pulls her outside and confronts her about lying about being in France. She insists that Young-hee go back home with her, but Young-hee refuses, saying she is working hard day and night to save money to go to France and will return all the money to her mom with interest. Despite this, her mom doesn't agree, and they have a heated argument. Finally, Jung-hee's mom threatens to break all ties with her if she doesn't come back home. This forces Jung-hee to go with her mom. Meanwhile, Ji-woo is out with Ye-ji, who is telling everyone about their engagement. When a boy questions if she is really getting engaged to Ji-woo, her brother's killer, Ji-woo, is stunned. Ye-ji explains that it was all just an accident, but the boy doesn't believe her, saying that marrying Ji-woo will sadden her brother's soul and she should feel ashamed. This leads to an argument between Ji-woo and the boy, and when the boy crosses the line, Ji-woo starts beating him badly, demanding, "Who are you to question anything about this?" Everyone is shocked by Ji-woo's behavior. Ji-woo, very injured and drunk, is taken to a hotel room by Ye-ji. There, Ji-woo cannot tolerate the darkness with the lights off and starts seeing bad memories about Minju's death. He shouts loudly for Ye-ji to turn on the lights, and she quickly does so, shocked because she has never seen Ji-woo suffer like this before. On the other hand, Young-hee's mom has lined up her 3 children and made them sit on their knees. When Kim Young arrives, she thanks him from the bottom of her heart for telling her about Song Kang and Jung-hee being in Seoul. The 3 children look at Kim Young angrily, and he turns his face away in fear. When Song calls Kim Young a traitor, Jung-hee's mom beats him badly, saying he told her the truth because she took an oath from him to be honest. Jung-hee again pleads with her mom not to take her away, but her mom doesn't agree. Later, Song Kang and Kim Young are talking while heading to the bathhouse to sleep. Song asks Kim Young why he told their mom about him and Kang, and especially why he revealed that Jung-hee was in Seoul instead of France. Kim Young explains that things are tough right now, and he wants to guide her for her own good. When Jung-hee's mom falls asleep, Young-hee sneaks up to the terrace and calls Ji-woo, who is in his car. On the phone, Young-hee tells Ji-woo that her mom has come to take her back home, but she doesn't want to go. She wants to stay in Seoul and begs Ji-woo to ask her to stay. However, Ji-woo remains silent. Jung-hee continues, saying she knows he is trying to save Ye-ji, but he should also consider their happiness and find another way. Ji-woo responds, saying, "Why do you like me so much? I'm not worthy of you. I'm a very bad person. So please forget me, and if possible, forgive me." With that, he hangs up, leaving Young-hee heartbroken and crying because if she goes back home with her mom, she won't be able to return. Finally, Jung-hee's mom takes her back home, where she helps out at her mom's restaurant. However, the crowd there makes Jung-hee's head spin. Because of how she had started, she ran away from home to France to fulfill her dreams. But all her dreams were shattered when a customer of Jung-hee's mom saw her and started asking Jung-hee's mother if this was her daughter and if she could send her on a blind date with her son. Jung-hee's mom agrees and wants Jung-hee to go on the blind date so that she can get married as soon as possible. On the other hand, when Ji-woo's mom meets Ye-ji, she asks if they really think the engagement is possible. Ye-ji questions why she feels the engagement is not possible, so Ji-woo's mom mentions her brother Minju's death. Because of Minju's death, everyone started pointing fingers at Ji-woo and calling him names. Distressed by this, Ji-woo's mom sent Ji-woo abroad to keep him away from his past. But if he marries Ye-ji, once again everyone will start associating him with Minju's death, making the engagement impossible. Ji-woo's mom is tired of this, and then tells Yeji about Ji-woo's phobia. Since Minju's death, Ji-woo has developed a phobia of darkness. He hasn't slept peacefully since then, and has been haunted by his painful past every day. She wants Yeji to leave Ji-woo if she truly cares for him, as it would be for his own good. Hearing this, Yeji is deeply shocked because she had no idea about Ji-woo's phobia. On her way back home, Yeji remembers the day she took medicine from Ji-woo's room and the times she saw Ji-woo in pain. Her heart breaks terribly as she doesn't want to stay away from Ji-woo at any cost. Ji-woo is not just her love but her entire life, someone she has liked and considered hers from the beginning. She has fought the world and her mom for Ji-woo, so how can she accept leaving his life now? Thinking about all this, she feels deeply hurt and cries. Jung-hee's mom forces her to go on the blind date she arranged with the jewelry shop owner's son, but since Jung-hee does not want to go, her mother starts forcing her a lot. Next, Ji-woo drops Yeji at her workplace. And then when she meets Kim Young there, she starts telling him about her and Ji-woo's engagement. Yeji also tells Kim Young that she will help him become permanent in this company. Kim Young has been a good friend from the beginning, so she will take the hard China project from him and give it to another junior, making Kim Young permanent in the company without much effort. Hearing this, Kim Young is initially very surprised, but later he calls her aside and says he will become permanent in this company through his own hard work one day. He doesn't need her help, and if she considers him a friend, she should just stay out of his way. Then he leaves in anger. Yeji wonders why he got mad at her. Meanwhile, Ji-hyuk gets called by Rose to return his cactus to him. Ji-hyuk had been suspended from the bar after the high school girls incident, and Rose couldn't take care of the cactus anymore. Ji-hyuk asks if that was the only reason she wanted to meet. Rose says she wanted to ask about Ji-woo's strange behavior recently. Ji-hyuk invites her for lunch and they go to a restaurant. Ji-hyuk asks if she could take him to her family's flower farm someday. Excited, Rose agrees. She takes his phone and saves her number on it. Ji-hyuk smiles at this. Jung-hee goes on a blind date due to her mom's pressure. When she arrives at the restaurant, she sees an older man waiting for her with a lot of attitude. The man says that Jung-hee looks okay, but she's not quite his type. He explains that he came because his father insisted. Otherwise, he already has plenty of girlfriends. Hearing this, Jung-hee makes a distasteful face. The man then says that he thinks he's younger than her, being 20 while she's over 23. He adds that she's poor and helpless, so he'll marry her out of pity. Hearing this, Jung-hee gets angry and asks the man who he thinks he is to pity her and what he thinks of himself. Jung-hee tells the man that he may think of himself as handsome, young, and beautiful, but he's never looked in the mirror. She says he looks like the father of 10 kids. Hearing this, the man gets angry at Jung-hee, who then tells him that she didn't come here for a date, but to let him know that her mom forced her to come. She says the man is in his own world and questions his claim that she's 30, clarifying that she's just 24. Jung-hee calls the man a rotten person, like rice wine, and then leaves, leaving the man very embarrassed in front of everyone. Later, when the incident is told to Kang and Song, they are both shocked to hear that Jung-hee went on a blind date. Kim Young is also surprised by the news. Song cuts the call, and Kim Young goes home to drink a lot, thinking about how Jung-hee can go on a blind date with anyone but can't come to him, which breaks his heart. Meanwhile, when Yeji excitedly shows her engagement dress to Ji-woo, he doesn't give any special reaction, and it's clear from his face that he's not happy with the relationship. Yeji notices this but doesn't say anything and starts feeling sad. On the other hand, Jung-hee goes to karaoke to lighten her mood because she's missing Ji-woo a lot. She sings and cries a lot, as it's not easy to be away from someone she likes. Jung-hee is upset day and night because of Ji-woo, and her mom notices this behavior. One day, she quickly runs outside and picks her up, thinking Ji-woo must have called to ask about her situation. But that's not the case. Ji-woo had called Jung-hee to ask her to take her cat back, saying it was Jung-hee's cat. Hearing this, Jung-hee feels sad, but she gets more upset when Ji-woo says that when she gets married, he will give her the biggest wedding gift. Hearing this, Jung-hee loses her patience and expresses her disappointment in Ji-woo, wondering why he's ignoring her feelings. Jung-hee's mom sees her crying and feels very bad because she has heard everything. On the other hand, Ji-woo is surprised after hearing everything from Jung-hee because he too had missed her and called her using the cat excuse to hear her voice. The next day, Jung-hee's mom takes her to choose a dress and buys her the most expensive one, despite Jung-hee's refusal. To ensure her daughter would never be called poor again, as the blind date had once said, her mother decided to take action. Upon returning home, she instructed Jung-hee to return to Seoul, noticing her daughter's declining health since her return. She urged Jung-hee to raise funds once more for a trip to France, giving her all the savings she had to ensure her daughter's dreams would not remain unfulfilled. Despite Jung-hee's protestations, claiming she had already squandered her mother's money before, her mother remained resolute. She advised Jung-hee to live her life fully, but to end her relationship with Kim Young and find a place to rent. Eventually, Young-hee relented and thanked her mother sincerely. In another setting, Ji-woo was drowning his sorrows in alcohol, reminiscing about Young-hee when Ye-ji arrived. Concerned, she attempted to take him to his room to rest, questioning his recent drinking habits. Ji-woo, however, made advances toward her, despite her resistance. Ye-ji, realizing Ji-woo's heart belonged to another, rebuffed his advances and left, leaving Ji-woo to rue his actions. Meanwhile, Kim Yong received a distressed call from Ye-ji and rushed to her aid. Concerned about her drunken state, he inquired about the cause of her distress, but Ye-ji remained tight-lipped. As they walked together, Ye-ji stumbled and injured her leg. Kim Yong, assisting her to his apartment, applied medicine to her wound, albeit reluctantly, prompting Ye-ji to reflect on Ji-woo's behavior. Overwhelmed with emotion, Ye-ji confided in Kim Yong, expressing her feelings of neglect and unworthiness. Kim Yong, realizing her need for comfort, hesitantly embraced her, surprising both of them. As he tended to her injury, Ye-ji impulsively kissed him, only to regret her actions immediately. Kim Yong, unfazed, reminded her of her status and gently rebuffed her advances. The next day, Young-hee's mother bid her farewell at the bus stop as she departed for Seoul, laden with food for Kim Yong. Song, at Kim Yong's house, received a call from Jung-hee's mother, instructing him to pick her up. Surprised by the sudden turn of events, Kim Yong decided to fetch Young-hee himself, much to Song's shock. Upon their meeting, Kim Yong expressed his concern for Jung-hee's well-being, to which she reassured him and presented him with the food her mother had sent. Delighted, they returned home together. Elsewhere, Ye-ji, still haunted by Kim Yong's kiss, returned home to find Ji-woo waiting for her, seeking to apologize for his earlier behavior. Ye-ji forgave him, attributing his actions to pre-wedding nerves, though she sensed his insincerity. Meanwhile, at Kim Yong's house, Jung-hee recounted her disastrous blind date to him. Impressed by her courage, Kim Yong commended her actions. In another scene, Rockstar, determined to win Rose's affections properly, serenaded her with a romantic song. After proposing to her again, he invited her to Thailand, hoping for a future together. Rose, taken aback, remained silent, unsure of her feelings. Struggling to find affordable accommodation, Young-hee turned to Kim Yong for help. Amused, he arranged for them to visit a potential room together. Encountering Ye-ji at the office, Kim Yong recalled their awkward encounter and swiftly excused himself. Similarly embarrassed, Ye-ji hurriedly left the premises. Later, Ji-hyuk visited Rose's family's flower farm, where he received a warm welcome. Rose's parents praised Ji-hyuk, prompting Ji-hyuk to question their relationship. Rose clarified that Ji-hyuk was her boss's brother, deflecting any assumptions of romance. As they departed, Rose's ex-husband's incessant calls interrupted their conversation, surprising Ji-hyuk, who was unaware of Rose's past marriage. Young-hee and Kim Yong visited another apartment. Impressed by its size and cleanliness, Young-hee happily agreed to rent it. Excitedly, she asked if the rent was truly just $5,000 per month. The landlord, however, corrected her, revealing that it was actually $8,000. Kim Yong had requested the landlord initially state the lower amount. He committed to covering the additional $3,000 each month from his pocket money, willing to do anything for Young-hee's happiness. Meanwhile, Ye-ji was out for dinner with friends. When one of them inquired if Ji-woo had proposed to her yet, Ye-ji fell silent, realizing the absence of happiness in their relationship. On the way back in the car with Ji-woo, she felt sad and exhausted, recognizing that she was stuck in an unhappy situation. Kim Yong was seen packing Young-hee's belongings from her previous place to ensure a smooth transition to her new home. Song looked at him in surprise, questioning why he was still concerned about Young-hee. Kim Yong explained that she was also a very good friend of his, clarifying his reasons. On the other hand, Jung-hee had already settled into her new apartment. She deleted all the photos of her and Ji-woo from their beach day, signifying the end of their relationship. Jung-hee was determined to start afresh. At the bar, Ji-woo's mother informed him about the decision to sell the building, intending to move abroad permanently. Ji-woo reviewed the files and adamantly refused the sale, expressing his desire to stay in Korea. Jung-hee arrived at the bar to retrieve her cat, surprising Ji-woo. He tried to stop her, insisting on keeping the cat, leading to an argument. During the altercation, the cat jumped out of Young-hee's arms, scratching her in the process. Inside the house, Ji-woo applied medicine to Young-hee's hand, apologizing for his past actions. He acknowledged the trouble he had caused her and asked for forgiveness from the bottom of his heart. Jung-hee remained silent, but later burst into tears. Kim Yong approached some Chinese people and offered them his company's soju. However, they all refused, remarking that Korea's soju was like water compared to China's. Yet Kim Yong persisted, attempting to enhance their experience. In the subsequent scene, everyone gathered at Young-hee's new house for a party. Rockstar had brought many gifts for her. As they sat down to eat, Rockstar noticed the close bond between Kim Yong and Jung-hee, which had been evident from the beginning. Curious, Rockstar asked if they were dating. Kim Yong seemed to acknowledge it while Jung-hee hesitated. Kim Yong expressed his confidence that they would date each other soon, despite Jung-hee's reservations, indicating his determination to pursue her until she agreed. Jung-hee was taken aback by his assertion. Meanwhile, Ye-ji, engaged in conversation with Ji-woo, grew serious and questioned him about their engagement, expressing her concerns about potential problems in the future. Ji-woo once again forced a smile and affirmed his commitment, knowing that if he refused, she might resort to drastic measures like attempting suicide. After the party, everyone goes back to their houses, and Mr. Gong asks Jung-hee if she will go somewhere with him the next day, and Jung-hee happily agrees. Ye-ji and her mother are at the memorial place mourning Minju's death, and Ye-ji is also crying. Mr. Gong and Jung-hee are at the same memorial place, and Mr. Gong takes her up to a grave and tells her that this was his daughter's grave. He explains how he owns 5-star restaurants all over the world, especially in France and New Zealand, so he stayed abroad instead of in Korea. He explained how he had not been to Korea in 18 years. He tells her how once her daughter called him and told him about her wedding, but due to his busy schedule, he could not attend it. He explains how, while she was leaving for her honeymoon, she got into a car accident and lost her life. The next time he came to Korea was for his own daughter's funeral, and since then he has never left, and he has always lived on the streets of Korea. He tells her how the day Jung-hee gave him that sandwich. It reminded him of his daughter. He says that he wants to take Jung-hee to France with him, and he will let her live in his house and teach him cooking at his 5-star restaurant. When she comes back home, she tells Kim Yong, who is very shocked to see that Mr. Gong has also cooked for many famous Hollywood celebrities. Jung-hee tells him about Mr. Gong's offer and asks for his opinion. He is so sad to even consider that she will be leaving, but he tells her to just follow her heart. Jung-hee calls her mom, tells her about Mr. Gong's answer, and asks for her mother's permission to go to France. First, her mother taunts her by saying that she didn't ask for permission last time, but then she agrees and gives her permission. Ye-ji goes to Ji-woo and asks him to go out on a date, and he agrees because somewhere in his heart he was starting to slowly accept her. He buys her a locket, flowers, and everything she asks for, and that makes her happy, and they even have a dinner together. When they are doing back, Ye-ji thanks him, tells him that she knows that he is sad and worried whenever he is with her, and says that she knows he only got engaged to her because he blames himself for Minju's death. Ye-ji says that she knows he was afraid to tell her about his trauma. He tells her that this is not the case, and so she asks him if he loves her. He remains silent and cannot answer. So Ye-ji says that she knew he would not be able to answer because he is doing this just to keep her happy. She starts crying, and he hugs her and says that it is not like that and says that he is very happy with her, but she does not believe him, and she says that she wants to distance herself from Ji-woo. Ji-woo remains silent, and she runs away crying. Ji-woo is at home thinking about all of this and feeling sad for Ye-ji, while Ye-ji is at her own apartment in her bed, crying her eyes out. Ji-woo's bar has finally reopened again, but instead of Rockstar, there was someone else serving. And instead of Jung-hee, there was another chef cooking the same dishes Jung-hee came up with. Mr. Kim, the cafe owner who has now stopped his foolish antics, comes to the bar with his friends and says that from now on, they will have cocktails at Ji-woo's bar and coffee at his own cafe. So he tells Rose not to stop serving coffee anytime soon, to which Rose doesn't reply because she doesn't know what to say. Rose and Jung-hee drop Rockstar off at the airport, where he thanks them because if it were not for Rose and Jung-hee, he would not have been able to survive in Korea. Jung-hee goes to the side when Rockstar asks Rose for her decision, but she rejects him and says that she only considers him a good friend. He even offers to take her to Thailand with him, but she refuses. After this, Jung-hee and Rose say their goodbyes to Rockstar. Ji-woo is back at his bar, and he's extremely drunk. Mr. Gong walks up to him and tells him that he is going back to France to work in his own restaurant, which Ji-woo does not really care about, and he says that he should leave already. What's stopping him? Then Mr. Gong tells him that he is taking Jung-hee, and this leaves Ji-woo in an absolute shock. Kim Yong is outside Jung-hee's apartment, and he hugs her goodbye. He tells her that he does not feel like letting her go at all, and that he wants to spend his life with her, but he says that he would regret not letting her go and fulfilling her dream. So he lets her go, and with that, they hug again. However, they are not alone in this moment, as Ji-woo is sitting in his car from far away and observing them, looking at both of them. Kim Yong sends Jung-hee back into her apartment, and then he walks over to Ji-woo because he noticed him staring at them and observing them. He goes up to him and tells him not to interfere with Jung-hee's dreams, and that he has already hurt her so much, and Kim Jong says that he will kill Ji-woo if he interferes with her life again. Ji-woo tells Kim Yong that he is not here to stop Jung-hee from going to France because he also wants to see her successful, and he would never do anything to jeopardize her dream. Ye-ji and Ji-woo meet for lunch, and Ye-hee has changed her hairstyle, which is what she does after every heartbreak. And she also begins to take pictures of her food and drink, which she also used to do earlier. So that means that she is slowly coming back to normal. Ji-woo asked her why she takes so many pictures and if she even gets likes on those pictures. He then asked her how many followers she has on Instagram. When Yeji told him that she has 2 million followers, he was shocked and could not believe it. Yeji asks Ji-woo what his plan is now and asks him if he's going to date. Young-hee officially replies by saying that he does not know what to do right now. He just wants to see her happy and succeed. Young-hee is with Song and she tells him to stop living at Kim Young's house and to find his own place and be more responsible. Song says that he will now be more successful and that he will work harder for his life. And he also adds on a request for a loan one last time. She does not reply to him and she leaves. Yeji finally tells her mom the real reason for Minju's death, which was her mother herself. So she feels very bad, and she comes to Ji-woo instantly the next day to apologize to him for tormenting him, yelling at him, and blaming her own son's death and her own fault on him because she felt bad. Ji-woo starts crying and he says that even if it were Minju's mother's fault, if he had not left Minju alone in the forest that night, he might have been alive today, and he starts crying even louder. Yeji's mother gives him comfort and tells him that it is not his fault anymore, and he should stop blaming himself for this, and she tells him that was all part of God's plan and she begs for his forgiveness. He finally forgives her, and then he starts crying even louder. Jung-hee is visiting her mom one last time before she leaves for France when she gets a call from Rose who tells her about Yeji and Ji-woo's breakup, which means that they will not be getting married anymore. Jung-hee wants to call Ji-woo instantly, but she does not because she does not want him to think that she is forcing him to get back with her in his time of pain and sadness. On the other hand, Ji-woo also wants to get back together with Jung-hee, but he is hesitating because he is afraid that if he gets back together with Jung-hee, she will not go to France to fulfill her lifelong dream. Kim Young drops Jung-hee off at the bus station because she wants to go to the airport alone so that Kim Young does not get late for his office. Jung-hee goes to the airport, checks in her luggage, and receives her boarding pass. She meets up with Mr. Gong, and while she's at the airport, her eyes are looking for Ji-woo. I hope that he would be there to say goodbye to her, but he does not even know that she has a flight today. So as soon as Rose tells him, he rushes over to the airport without wasting a single second. By the time he reaches the airport, he sees that Jung-hee has crossed security checkpoints, and she is walking towards her airplane, so he is very late to meet her, so he says goodbye to her from the bottom of his heart. Jung sat inside the plane, and she believes that her eyes saw Ji-woo at the airport, but Mr. Gong tells her that that never really happened. It was just a part of her imagination. We are now showing a scene from 1 year later in which the bar is really popular, bigger, and better, and it has a lot more customers, and it's going really well and successful. Yeji and Kim Young are really good friends. We are in their office and they meet almost daily. They have a really good bond going on between them. Song is working as a fashion designer clothes salesperson in a female clothing shop because he has always had a good sense of fashion when it comes to female clothing, so he helps the customers pick out the dresses. Ji-woo often goes to Song's house to see the videos that Jung-hee sent her brother. He looks at those videos very happily because, even though he has had no connection with Jung-hee in an entire year, he still misses her a lot and feels a very deep and loving connection with her. He often takes those videos home and watches them on the big projector screen at his own house. In one of the videos, we can see that Jung-hee is in a kitchen and showing off her cooking skills, and she starts laughing at jokes from a friend. Ji-woo is very jealous over the fact that she's laughing with another guy, but he's also really proud of her for becoming a famous chef. Kim Young is fixing up. Yeji's messed up reports and work when she suddenly starts flirting with him and calls him beautiful, really pretty, awesome, and cool. And Kim Young starts to blush. She even indirectly offered him a proposal to be her boyfriend, but he does not really consider it, and he jokes around about it with her. But in reality, he has also caught feelings for Yeji. During the daytime, Ji-woo works at the bar, and during the nighttime, he watches Jung-hee's videos. He plays and talks to the owl-shaped lamb that she gifted him, and he just misses her until one day he goes to Song's house to pick up more videos of Jung-hee. When he finds her sleeping in Song's, which means that she is now back in Korea, he is such a huge shock that he just sits on the bed and continuously non-stop stares at her face. She suddenly wakes up, gets scared, and asks Ji-woo what he's doing. Song walks in the apartment, and he thinks that the both of them are having some romance with each other, so he says that he only stepped out for 1 second, and when he came back, they were having romance. They both refused to admit that they were having a romance because they were not, but Song does not believe them. All three of them go to the roof where they said, but Ji-woo is still in disbelief, and he pinches her face to check whether he is dreaming of it or not, but it turns out she was actually there. Song tells Jung-hee that he always comes over and asks questions about her, and he takes videos of her along with him because he misses him a lot. And then Song also tells Ji-woo that Jung-hee also does the same thing and misses Ji-woo a lot. Rose is now dating Ji-hyuk, and they are both waiting outside of the doctor's office for her reports. She mentions Rockstar and is about to say something, but the doctor called her in to take a look at the reports. Once they are done with the reports, they go out to have a meal. And the reports came out positive and everything was clear and she was very happy. She shows him some pictures of a rock star, but this makes Ji-hyuk kind of jealous. So Rose finds that very cute, so Ji-hyuk starts kissing her. She stops him by saying that they are in a public place. They should not do that, but she does not stop any of them from continuing to kiss her. Jung-hee goes to a very luxurious and popular 5-star restaurant to give her interview as a chef, and Ji-woo follows her there, sits on the table, and patiently waits for her to give her interview. And when she's finally done with her interview, she gives Ji-woo the good news that she passed the interview, and she's been accepted as the head chef in this famous restaurant. Jung-hee then meets with Young at a nearby cafe, who is also in the cafe. Ji-woo also came to the cafe and sat at another table, closely observing them and keeping an eye on them. Kim Young asks her why she came back to Korea when she could have worked a better job in France, so she tells him that she missed her friends and family and felt really alone in France, so Kim Young feels very proud of her. Young-hee tells him that her name is now Emily in France, so Ji-woo finds this so funny that his drink spills out of his mouth and he starts laughing. Kim Young asked Jung-hee what she was going to do about Ji-woo, but she says that she has not thought about it yet. Now that they are back at the bar, Ji-woo makes Jung-hee a mojito, so she asks him why he always makes her a mojito. So he tells her that in Spanish, mojito means casting a spell, and he refers to a spell as love. So he explains that this drink is for his one and only love, which is Jung-hee. Jung-hee tells him that she has to go back to France soon for her studies, so she asks Ji-woo if he will wait for her. He just pulls her in directly, kisses her, and tells her that he will wait not only for a few years, but for his entire life because he loves her so much. So she pulls him in even closer and kisses him, and with that, they fall in love again. But this time even better.